Hey y'all, it is July the 25th, 2020. Popping in here for a late night session, right? And if we get some stragglers, I understand that the freaks come out at night. Alright, so I'll be very cautious. But hopefully we can keep it cool. It's just that, I got off to a late start today. Okay? And also, I missed y'all a little bit too much, and there's probably stuff that we should talk about. All right, at least for a little while tonight, while we have some time. I appreciate anybody who slides through and stuff, and whoever checks out this recording. This will be the beginning of an idea, I guess. The stream is titled 101 Days Until the Lightning Round, and that's actually just funny rhetoric and stuff. I don't know what that means. I just put it. It's funny, but actually 101 days until you might be aware until, well, I guess I closed it, but until the United States so-called election is gonna happen. That's Google. Forget about it, but take my word for it, and you can look it up. It's 101 days today. All right. And I had the idea a little while back, maybe a couple days ago, about, the times we're living in and priorities and this and that and people and social networking and what the heck that I might want to do over this next time period. Because as I've alluded to not long ago, it's like I don't have any time, especially during the week. Like during the week, no time. On the weekend sometimes, but also I had to kind of work it in to try to use the weekend to get some rest, and I had to catch up on that sort of stuff, man. Been working my butt off, all right, during the week, and getting a little bit of extra money. You know what I mean? And I might be able to make some sound investments into the near future, all right. But I had the idea of, I don't know, maybe I don't know if you call it a journal. It's a lot like the Blair Witch Diaries, in which the idea is that I document, I guess, between now and 101 days from now. All right, and let's see if I could do it. Let's see if I could dedicate myself, and I'll post. You know what I'm saying? Every single day leading up to it. 100 days really not. That's not long at all. For example, we've actually been in these so-called lockdowns and whatnot and shutting off all our economies and just crippling them or choking them or lightly strangling them, depending on where you're at, for well over 100 days now, right? And look how the time has flown by. It's flown by real quick. Real quick. And at times it's very slow, it seems like, but 100 days is just not going to take that long at all right? And Lord knows, like I said, I don't have any time during the week at all. But in order to accomplish this goal, I guess you would call it, of documenting, say, like a little journal for the next couple 100 days, for the next 100 days. There might be some posts that are like a minute long, maybe, or something, where I'm just like, hey, look, it's this such and such date, stuff's hitting the fan, blah blah blah, this and that happened, and then I had to get off, just because I don't have no time and stuff. And then I think if you put them all together and fast forward them, and you're gonna see a whole bunch of calamity happening all at one time, right? Real quick, fast. Like if someone were to look back upon it, right? And somehow come across a digital copy of my 100-day journal. Right? You know what I'm saying? It'll be well documented what it is exactly is going on. And Lord knows it's hard to keep up, right? That's the thing, sometimes I think we gotta I'm very disorganized, but sometimes I think we gotta document stuff because we're gonna look back on it and we'll remember all sort of things. But for every one thing, there'll be probably like 10 things that we totally forgot about that are actually crucial, I guess, in the whole scheme of things. And at the same time, none of this is important, right? I don't know if any of this is making sense, but like I said, here's the program. I mean, right now I'm gonna have a live stream, right? It's just what I'm doing. There's just a couple things that I want to talk to you about. But other days probably gonna be less and stuff like that, just to touch base, all right, and see if we could do it. Meanwhile, 100 days is not a long time. Let's go ahead and start off this broadcast, if we will. And I'll share with you a little story. And I actually got a whole bunch of stories, I'm sure. But I don't want to waste too much time on them. The other day, who's to say? It's all a blur to me. But I think yesterday, I was talking to a neighbor of mine. He's an older gentleman. God bless him, good guy, good guy. I don't talk to him too much, but sometimes I see him. I'm very busy. He's very busy. Anyways, I seen him, and we had a short, brief talk and stuff. And I don't even know how conversations. I don't know how they drift off into like, because we had a very short conversation, and somehow he brought up that he thought civil war was coming. All right, and like, yeah, I mean, in a sense, I agree with him, but we got to talk about that a little bit. Just within a minute of conversation, I don't know how. I really don't remember how it came up, but he's like, "Oh man, I think we're." I'm just times where he's like, and I was looking at this neighbor of mine, an older gentleman, and I believe his eyes were getting all misty-eyed, to be honest. And he's standing there talking to me about how, like, he's really worried. He's really worried about civil. And he mentioned the election specifically, and that's kind of like why I had the idea. I was like, thinking to myself, we're only about 100 days out, right? It's going to happen very quick. And he was talking to me about, perhaps civil war. Now, it's interesting. I know that politically, this neighbor of mine, I don't really talk to, obviously, I let somebody else start talking about politics before I bring it up and stuff. So I don't know him very well on politics. I would assume that you can kind of tell just by looking at people when they're anti-Donald Trump, all right? And who cares if you're a fan or not of Donald Trump? I'm just saying, I can tell by looking at you if you're like anti-Trump and stuff, right? And so I could tell he kind of is and stuff. So I didn't really touch upon it. It wasn't worth talking in great detail. He simply brought up, he thinks the civil war might be afoot, and it might be coming to our back door before too long. The thing is, I didn't. This is how I responded. It was like, that is a damn shame, and I do see what you're talking about. This is basically what I told him. I was like, it is a damn shame, and I think that's what's to be remembered. Like, what's to be said about teamwork? Can we work together? Can we be a team? Like, we don't have to be fighting. Nobody has to be fighting each other. And I didn't make mention of like what his political stance might be. I was just saying, like, isn't it a damn shame that people they're getting so heated about this and that, but they can't work together, obviously. And it'd be a lot better if they did. All right, and so it kind of left it at that. And I was, we said our goodbyes. We were doing things. I walked one way, he walked the other, but. I couldn't help but be moved by, like I said, he was getting all misty-eyed right there, and I could tell, like, I mean, if you bring it up that quickly, it's like, why are you bringing, we don't even talk that much, but you brought it up right away, and you're misty-eyed. Thing is, like I said, he's probably anti-Donald Trump, but, I couldn't help but think that, he's probably thinking, I can't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure, he's probably thinking of this like a civil war between, say, Republicans and Democrats. And it's like, it's so dumb, but no, it's not, that's not it at all. Right? But it's an illusion, to convince us that's what it is. But it isn't. It isn't that. And within 100 days, it's going to be painstakingly obvious there's not exactly a Republican Democrat issue. We're going to see that play out over the next 100 days. But some people's brains are going to be pretzels. They're going to be all scrambled up like scrambled eggs. And they're still going to look at it like it's a Republican Democrat issue. And also, it's going to be hyped up on the news. And it's going to be a mask, anti mask issue and stuff, highly political. Everybody abounding with fear and stuff from here on out and stuff, right? But obviously, as I've kind of alluded to, as y'all probably, I don't know what to say about how y'all feel, but it's not going to be Democrat, Republican at all as far as the United States. And I didn't want to talk in much detail with my neighbor about it, but it's going to be more complicated than that. And I don't even know if I would even call it a civil war. It's going to be very messy. That's what it's going to be. Quite messy. And in essence, it's definitely a civil war, but I don't think the sides are going to be very clearly divided. Because people have lost all sort of perspective, right? And they've lost a lot of their ideas of teamwork. And when I say teamwork, I mean working with people who perhaps disagree with you about a lot. Even maybe working with them on things that y'all disagree with. All right? I think a lot of people are going through that sort of stuff. Oh, but the thing is, my neighbor, he moved me, right? And that's why I brought up the story. And then I had the idea of having a 100-day journal type thing, which, you know what I'm saying? I document the day-to-day, what's happening, what's really going on, what's really crucial. In fact, like just some of the things that are probably very wild that happened that day or something like that. And the reason is because no matter what it looks like, it is going to be messy. I'll tell you that. And I personally don't want to have anything to do with it or participate in it at all. Right? But it's going to be some sort of civil, like, people are going to get hurt. People are going to get dead. And I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Stuff like that, like, and people are going to become more and more divided, obviously. And we're seeing like kind of division. I mean, the division, obviously. I don't think that I had to go over it really, but I mean, with some people, it seems that I do. It's not a Republican, Democrat thing at all. Although technically, you could see that one side kind of, if you're the whole ideologies and stuff like that. It's just, it's to say that most of these damn politicians are corrupt as hell. But the Republican stance, the so-called official stances on things, aren't that bad, right? But regardless, it's all sort of calamity. I think it's important, perhaps at this time, to embrace and absorb and accept there's a calamity on the horizon. And no way are we gonna pass this or skip this or duck around this? It's not gonna happen. All right, we're headed straight for the mountain, if you will. It's coming, whatever the calamity looks like. And in a sense, it's not gonna be all about the election, right? That's like a side note, but the election in and of itself is gonna be very symbolic of what the hell is going on right now. All right. Like for example, we already know who's the technical candidates right now for this election that we're talking about. The Donald Trump, current president of the United States, Joe Biden, former vice president of the United States, and very, very old man who cannot talk straight. You know what I'm saying? And it's an all sort of softball, easy peasy interviews and stuff like that, and really not coming up out of his basement very much. It's very awkward, and everything is so convenient. It's interesting in this new state of affairs how everything is so conveniently in the favor of Democratic persuasion. All right. See, my theory is it can go one of a number of different ways, I'm sure. But here's what I think. All right, just to get down to the nitty gritty. What people, let's say there was an upper echelon, like secretive type groups, and they're all Satan worshippers, and they do the worst of the worst things on earth and stuff, and they try to manipulate humankind, right? Let's say hypothetically that is the case, right? What I think what they would want to have happen from here to 100 days from now and then beyond is all sort of calamity, obviously, to be drummed up to include racial tension or whatever, and confusion and fear, obviously, from so-called disease that we, that we're supposed to be falling over dead from. And okay, so what they're going to want to do is utilize all that sort of stuff to basically tire us out, to get us all fatigued, right? And I might check out Google in a second, see what they say, but they want to get us all fatigued, everybody, all right, who stands for good, who stands for justice, who stands for babies, and etc., etc. They want to get us all deterred, disillusioned, very tired, very fatigued, to tap out. It's kind of ingenious. They know how to time things pretty good, because obviously people like you and myself are probably very tired. We're so tired of these masks and stuff, and everybody walking around in fear. That now, I don't know about you, but most of the time I talk myself out of going to places now, because I weigh it out. Like, do I really want this thing? Or do I just not want to see people in masks at the store or whatever various stores? And I opt out. Alright? The thing is, okay, well, here's what we were talking about. The elites or whatnot, they would want to utilize all that, slip into Joe Biden, and who knows, he might fall over dead the day of. He might be completely gone. Almost like Weekend at Bernie's, but with a person who's still alive, just like really, whatever, they use him as a puppet, and from there, totally guilt trip everybody, and just really put the screws to us at that point. Like Joe Biden, see, that's what they want. But so at that point, oh man, I'm not saying that they're gonna start loading people on trains the next day or anything, taking us to the gulags. But it's definitely in the cards, and it's going to happen, and it's definite at that point, if they're able to accomplish that. They're able to accomplish it. And then there might be some people out there who are like, oh, but I like Biden, what are you just tripping? And of course, that's not what they would do. Biden loves everybody, and he's not a racist, and stuff like that. You've been played so hard, and it's just unbelievable if you're out there thinking that. But there are people out there thinking that, and it doesn't make any sense. They're getting played very hard. Joe Biden would bring that in. And of course, some sort of militant colored woman is going to be his VP and basically step in and take the reins on all sort of social justice or whatever. Everybody's getting shut down, all right? The president is going to work directly, if not his surrogates, with the social media tech heads, and everything is bad. And like, for example, I promise you, if you have children, forget their futures. Their futures are done and stupid, and they're gonna be transgender, and they're not gonna have a job, and they are gonna turn into criminals out of necessity, and that's your children's future. I don't care if they're going to college right now. Doesn't make no damn difference. It's done. They are done. Their future is over. You could, whatever, if you have a great paying job, good. Put them into college. Their future is over. It's going to be a disgrace. And that is pretty much the projection. That's what they want to have happen. Because at that point, there's really nothing that we're going to do against all the media working together with the executive branch, working together with just everything, and they're gonna like defund the police, and they're gonna bring in everything. Crime's gonna have to go up, remember, because they shut down the economy. It's no getting out of it. It's not like, oh, but what if we just try real hard and work real hard, and even under this regime, we're still gonna prosper. There's not a way. There's not a chance in hell. because they're gonna obviously shut off whatever business that they want to at any particular time that they want to. And in fact, most of the small businesses will be out of business by the time Joe takes office. They're going to be out of business already. And then there's going to be slim pickings, and those people are going to be put out of business. All throughout these people's fear, because some people have been so convinced of fear. Man, I have like a whole bunch of different stories that I could share, but I do want to hop into a little bit of some of the current events, and there's a couple of news items in particular that I wanted to stress before we get out of here. All right, but and I know y'all seen this, but I just want to reassure you and reaffirm your suspicions. Here in San Antonio, it's like, dude, San Antonio has a sort of history where you would think, oh man, they're independent minded. Oh man, they want to hold guns. Oh man, they like have their own lifestyle and they don't want to be bothered. That would be the history of San Antonio and the supposed culture of San Antonio, but that's been all grifted away. Unfortunately, and I don't know if it's just all the immigration to San Antonio. That's probably a big factor, but also people just lost it. Like they lost all sense of the fierce independent mindedness of Texans throughout history. They don't have that. They don't have that right now. Some of them do, and it's tucked way down deep, but it's very few and far between. I bring up okay, so it's from San Antonio, but okay, I'm gonna give you an idea. Like, I've seen people, because I live in an apartment complex and stuff like that, and I do this and that. I've seen people walking to and from their apartments in masks and stuff personally, from their apartments to their cars and to the mailbox, in fact, and just weird stuff. Walking around the neighborhood, basically, in masks. And I've seen, just like you've seen, people alone in cars, driving with a mask. And I've literally seen in person a person who is out in the middle of rural San Antonio outskirts, and he's on a bicycle by himself, one of those road bikes, and he was wearing a mask. And I seen weird stuff, and I was actually talking to a friend of mine, good friend of mine. I might as well mention he's Puerto Rican, all right, older gentleman, and he was telling me about, for example, he said his grandfather over there in Puerto Rico. It kind of blew my mind. I want to say he said it was his grandfather, 92 years old, was driving in Puerto Rico and wound up passing out while driving. Yeah, that's right, because he was wearing a mask. Luckily, he didn't kill anybody and he didn't die, but he did wind up crashing his car. Right? And then this Puerto Rican friend of mine, he also told me about I think his mother-in-law, or somebody. He saw her going to the mailbox the other day wearing a mask, and he stopped her. I forget what her name is, but he was like, you don't have to wear a mask to go to the mailbox. And you might even be asking yourself, why is she wearing a mask to go to the mailbox? It's not really, and I gotta assure you, she's probably not walking past anybody. And the reason is because, as you might have heard before, that she thinks that if she were to be seen outside of her house without a mask on her face, that somebody of law enforcement capabilities is going to swiftly issue her a $250 fine. And you might think, well, where did she get that notion? Because they're spouting it all over the news. Isn't that a dang disgrace? Right? But, okay, it's definitely coming. Now, there's all sorts of different ways this election could either end or not even take place. Right? But meanwhile, I would have to stand with a lot of people in saying that, maybe not enough's being done, and not to just point fingers at Donald Trump. He's doing some real good things and some things that are not so good. It's just to say that somebody needs to step up, to include myself, all right? And I want to find out different ways in which I can step up in the meantime within 100 days. And let it be known that I'm just not having it, all right? as far as the whole racial war stuff, man, it's so stupid. As far as the Democrat Republican thing, that's so stupid. All this stuff's so stupid, and I don't want to have nothing to do with it. And it's definitely making itself obsolete in my own eyes, as far as technology and stuff, and as far as the news feeds, and as far as keeping up in current events and stuff like that. I have become like something, I don't know if you call it addicted, or I wouldn't, but I don't know if you call it dependent. I wouldn't, but perhaps you'd call it reliant. I've become somewhat reliant. People out there I know probably have as well, on knowing current events and stuff like that, and seeing all the viral things and keeping abreast of that situation. And I know that nobody stays on that treadmill the entire time. All right, there's definitely points in time where people have to take vacations from it, and they do, and they feel a lot better. But then they go back into the news feeds and stuff like that, and I can't blame them, because I want to know too. It's always like that's human nature, right? To want to know if you have access to certain knowledge. Well, you're just gonna want to go and find all that knowledge, but then there's certain rabbit holes and there's certain distractions, so you can get on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that and spend hours looking at stupid, negative, stupid stuff. Good. And we've all done it, right? And I want to announce that while I try to do this 100-day thing, which we have a journal about all this current events, and we're going to talk about some right now. There's some sort of tropical storm called Hannah, and it's about to hit Texas. Man, it still hasn't really rained in San Antonio. I wish it would. It rained a tiny little bit today, but just not very much. Alright, before we get into all that sort of stuff, the current events and things of that nature, there was a point I was going to make, but I can't even remember what it is. Right? Well, if I remember what it is, I'm going to talk about it. But anyways, there's a Hurricane Hannah, blah, blah, blah. I hope to see some rain. God bless them. I hope they're doing well down there in southern Texas and stuff like that. It's like a hurricane coming. I think it's going to be a tropical storm by the time it hits them. Hopefully we get a little bit of some of that rain. I got some food growing, some gardens and stuff. Dang it. I could show y'all. I'll probably show y'all later a picture or two of the garden, one of the gardens that I have growing, and I'm going to see the other garden probably tomorrow. Scientists dive deep to explore mysterious blue hole on the Florida seabed. Oh yeah. Okay, so this kind of reminded me of the point that I wanted to make just a second ago. See this? Scientists dive deep to explore mysterious blue hole on the Florida seabed. It probably sounds pretty interesting. To some people, I can imagine they'd be very intrigued by that. And for good reason. But the thing is, I'm not intrigued by it at all. Not even for 1 second. I don't care. In fact, when I seen this before, just yesterday, or the day before, I saw they were talking about this mysterious blue hole, and it's just like, who cares, dude? I can't bother with caring. But some people see it's very distracting, and it's meant to be that. That's why it is on CNN.com. It's meant to be distracting, and it's meant to just be fruitless, and who cares? Alright, and with that being said, it's for that reason that while during this 100-day challenge, I also plan to get away from like some of these current events. Like, we already see what it is. Alright, and there probably is going to be crucial things to share every single day, but as far as most of this is mostly gobbledygook, and it's like, dude, who cares about any of this? It's a waste of our time. It's a waste of our time. And I got to admit, we might see headlines about it in a second, but before we do, I gotta say the technology aspect. How we see this internet news stuff. It's on screens, right? It'd be on phones, it'd be on tablets, and this and that, laptops. I use a cell phone right now, and that's what I've been doing for, I don't know, quite some time. Just a cell phone, because I don't have an internet connection. I just got the cell phone, but it's got good data and stuff. All right, so I utilize that. And I take it where if I want to go somewhere, and I want to look at the internet or whatever, or if I want to call somebody, if I want to listen to music or whatever, my phone's been there. And I'm not. I completely understand that it's a spying on me and recording every last thing about me. I know that's right. But that even didn't dissuade me from doing it just because there's so many good things on it. That's like just very entertaining. But I gotta realize, for myself at least, that is a trap, and it's trapping me. I know a lot of people have expressed similar notions that they're being trapped by. I think it is trapping us, right? But now, see, even though it's trapped us, see, people get like, say, addicted or whatever you would call it. And even though it's trapped us, now we're going through a transitional period of change in which we're gonna be forced out of that. It's just, it don't even matter that if we're addicted to this and that, that might be bad for us. It's gonna stop. It has to stop. For example, um, I don't even know how we see. Look at all these, like, these are probably like not important news items, right? So let me skip to it and see if I can find it. But I forget what they call it. I saw a headline, and I might have it in the screenshots actually. Might cut to the screenshots because I know I have something pretty well interesting up in my screenshots, and I can't guarantee Google is gonna have anything worthwhile at all. Lots of times they might very much disappoint us. So let's see, out of the hundreds and hundreds of screenshots that I have, some of the most recent, I know one has to do with the cell phone technology in particular. Man, I totally forgot about like all these. See, that's the thing. I'm recording all this stuff and these news items, and I totally forget about all of them. And sometimes I jump on the broadcast, I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. Meanwhile, there's like a million things that we could talk about. But here's an example of something that's just not surprising at all. T-Mobile, which is not my carrier, but T-Mobile will soon require VoLTE, whatever that means, on all phones. Non-compatible devices will get kicked off in January. And they're going to be the first to make that step, but it's going to happen very fast. It's going to have a lot to do with 5G and technology, which is going to cause major health problems, but who cares? See, they're going to start switching that on, so you're going to need a compatible phone. Basically, if you don't like 5G, it does not matter. You're going to get it. Does not matter. Gonna get it. So with that being said, I mean, January is not very far away. Of course, they want to give you a cushion because they still want to get all your money. They know it's going to take you a little while to be able to get that new phone. So they're like, basically the beginning of next year, your phone's not going to work. Probably. Not only for T-Mobile, but for whatever other company, it's probably not going to work. So, that being said, I was already having the notion to get away from the cell phone technology. How do you do that? Well, the cell phones do all sort of things that I like, right? But there's other things that do what I like. But they don't do them all at once. Like, for example, an MP3 player that can play music, just like my cell phone plays music, but that's all it does, is it plays music. Now I got one, and I can have that just by itself. I got a landline. It's almost a month ago now, probably. I got to start using it for real, and I do plan tomorrow to really learn how to use it. And I have not learned how to use it really yet. So, I've had a shortage of time, but I do plan on using it. That's another thing. Oh, I can call people. Oh, they can call me. Don't need a cell phone. See what I'm getting at? Starting leaning more and more towards that. There's other things like perhaps for example, I do have like a GoPro type. I think it's a GoPro ripoff, but it's a little camera. It's by Vivitar. All right, DVR 783 HD, little old camera. Technically, I can take pictures. Don't even need the cell phone. So it's like, what do I have it for now? And I was thinking the other day, I was like, well, if I like being on the internet sometimes and uploading sometimes, well, how do I do that? And I was thinking about those because I have this package, right, in which I pay for cable, even though I don't own a TV and never want to own a TV. I have a package and I pay for cable because it's standard in my apartment complex, and I also pay for the telephone. So it's like, man, if I just up it a little bit more, actually, I can start paying them for internet. And yeah, it could be Wi-Fi or whatever, because I have some compatible little tablet that can work with Wi-Fi probably. I'm pretty sure it does. And then then I could have a little tablet type thing for the internet, which actually might even be better. I noticed this person up in the building. Holla at your boy. But I was talking about getting away from the whole cell phone thing. At this point, I had all sort of reasons to already, and so by getting a camera, by getting a landline, by getting like I said, an MP3 player, pretty much makes. And if I got an internet connection at my crib, then there is no reason to have the cell phone at all. Only that small little bit of security. Oh, like what if you get in an emergency? What if people got in emergencies all throughout the history of time, before cell phones were invented and stuff? And it's like, just live. It's like I already had that idea. It's like I just want to live. But the thing is, then I saw this headline and it's like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't know if I'm even gonna pay the next cell phone bill, which comes up at about the 12th of next month, the 12th, 13th. I don't know that I'm gonna pay it or even want to pay it. And I noticed that if I were to stop paying a cell phone bill and just pay for the internet at home, I might actually even save a little bit of money. So it might actually save me some money. It's like there's really no reason that I would continue to do this. And so it's interesting how, even though I selfishly wanted to cling to the whole cell phone thing and it's ever so convenient for me, it's literally like a hardship. It's like a chore to carry this damn thing around now. And so they've convinced me to make them obsolete. Right? We all know about their like transhumanism, and they want to have stores full of robots and stuff like that. They want to make us obsolete. Now it's like a race between whether or not they want to make us obsolete, or whether or not we just don't care and they don't. We just don't need them anymore. Anyways, Rabbi Branda up in the building, and I appreciate you, Branda. It's my very dear co-host for this show. And we've been here for a while. Let me see. 37 minutes. Oh yeah, but we could definitely stay a while longer because of the weekend we have some time. But we were discussing all this. We were discussing a lot of stuff before that. I really don't remember what it is that we were discussing, but Brenda says I was just in the middle of making a video, but that can wait. Glad to see. Oh man, I appreciate you. I wonder what that video was about. Because here's the thing, Unrabbi Branda, we might actually have to go to her channel right quick. Unrabbi Branda, she's been taking some deep dives and doing some investigative reporting. And so I'm very curious, because I noticed that she doesn't exactly talk about the same things over and over like this. Or she's definitely got some different assorted content. As we could check out right here, Who's the Beast? Or if who is the beast? And hell yeah, it is. Is Walmart weaponized? Yeah, it probably is. Got zapped at Walmart. Well, that just goes with the territory. See, re-upload amid Wayfair unicorn children sororities, multi-millions trying. So you can tell it's like some pretty good investigative little deep dives and stuff like that. Just the right amount of time. Putting the real crucial stuff forward. Thought is real. Control government. My former congressman. James Trafficant. All this sort of this deep dive stuff. So this being said, and as we can't forget, evil-eyed shape-shifting viper. New Jersey selected Governor Murphy says this BS. All right. So I am kind of very curious as to what's the next video going to be about. And you really can't tell sometimes when it comes with Unwrapped by Branda. Alright, so, she's been keeping the masses waiting right here because I like this, sometimes you gotta build up and really sit back and analyze, and you gotta be very cerebral, the way that Brenda is, in order to get down to the nitty gritty. And that's, I really want to find out. and I will find out, Brenda. There's nothing you can do to stop me. But in the meantime, gosh, we were in the screenshots. There's probably a couple things on YouTube we're talking about, but like I said, this is a perfect example of people making themselves obsolete. Like, there's going to be not a lot of people, and obviously it's not going to make the difference. It's not going to make T-Mobile bankrupt or anything like that, but some people are finally being convinced you are here to hurt us, right? And we're just enabling you by having this sort of stuff, man. And so I'm done. I'm pretty much done. I can't even imagine why I would pay my cell phone bill the next time when I can just be done with it. I noticed that there were some interesting screenshots. So in the meantime, before we find out what's on Brenda's plate right now, we'll just take a look at some of these, I guess. San Antonio's favorite Pollos Losados Los Norteños reopens for dine-in. I never heard of that place, but there's so many places in San Antonio. The world capital of eating out, diabetes, all this sort of stuff, man. They love it. But, okay, for example, while we're on that note, when we're talking about people making themselves obsolete, when it comes to these restaurants, and like I just went to a restaurant right now. I actually went to Freddy's Frozen Custard, and I got some stuff, and it was alright. I wasn't super impressed, but it was convenient enough. Chick-fil-A was really kind of like not where I wanted to go to Chick-fil-A, but anyways, that didn't work out, and because it just got so complicated. I couldn't go in. It's like, dude, I'm walking to your place. Can I come into your store? Can you at least meet me on the curb? Can I get some food or what? Like, people are making things very complicated now, and Chick-fil-A actually just made things a little bit too complicated for me, and it didn't work out. So I went to Freddy's Frozen Custard, and I was able to get some service. But in the meantime, I had walked by a lot of different places that I just didn't care for. I didn't want to go into, but I looked at them, and I was looking inside, and it was like kind of getting late, but it wasn't very late. It wasn't exactly closing time. I was looking into storefront windows and stuff, or restaurants and stuff, and looking in, and just they didn't have no customers, or very few. The amount of customers that they had just on a Saturday evening. That's just unbelievable. That is unsustainable. And so when they say that like 80% plus small restaurants and whatnot are going to close up, period, end of story, not going to come back, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Nobody can pull this off. And it's funny that they're trying to pull it off. Right? I went to Freddy's Frozen Custard actually. And I don't mind saying names right now just because I don't feel like I'm going to get anybody in trouble or anything like that. But the reason is because, for the past Saturdays, what I haven't been broadcasting is I've been actually, that's on a personal note, just going to a bar and grill and stuff and enjoying myself, having a couple of beers and stuff like that, coming back home and just passing out. That's what I've been doing on Saturdays. And I'm just unimpressed now. Like, I don't want to keep doing it. And no, I don't wear a mask. I walk straight up to the bar. I ordered this and that, and they give it to me, and that's what I want. And they don't give me no guff, right? This bar and grill that I've been going to. But at the same time, it's like they're disappointing. The experience is disappointing now for all sort of reasons. I don't want to talk about it like in great detail, but it's just to say like it's one of those. It's supposed to be localized type bar and grills and stuff, like your neighborhood bar and grill and stuff, and it's like Applebee's, and they got stuff on the walls and stuff on the ceilings and stuff like that. And like, for example, they have if you might be familiar with the Come Take It flag, right? It's part of Texas culture. It's actually part of San Antonio culture. It's part of Gonzales, Texas culture. It's like a little tiny town. Come Take It flag, there's significance behind that, and they have that like on their ceiling and stuff. For example, okay, they have a Come Take It flag on the ceiling, but at the same time, right now, current day, they're all wearing masks. Why? Because they're scared as hell. Why? Because they know they'll get shut down for just simply not even wearing masks. Now they're walking around wearing masks, and I get it. You're scared for a little while, but now it's weeks and weeks later. I keep coming to your restaurant. You keep wearing masks and stuff. It's like, I can only really deal with that for so long. before it's like starting to rub me the wrong way. And at the same time, just there's certain people who are very personable, and they're like naturals at being bartenders and waitresses and stuff like that. Just naturals, and even with the mask, they could probably pull it off real good. But for the most part, it ain't no connection being made between me and you while you're wearing a damn mask. Like, I mean, I don't mean to get. It's not like I'm. All I'm saying is I'm very disappointed, and you're gonna have a come take it flag on a ceiling too. I'm just very disappointed. And meanwhile, although that particular bar and grill is not doing as bad as a lot of other places, it's not going to shut down as fast. It is still going to shut down, especially if you're playing ball with these people and stuff. Especially if you keep lying down to these people, and no matter what kind of unreasonable demands that they have of you, you're going to just lie on your back and stuff. And I mean, like, if that's what you're going to do, you're not going to have a business for very long. And the thing is, I know a lot of these places are franchises or it's corporate owned and stuff like that. Oh yeah, maybe y'all be able to pull it out, but any other restaurant bent over to this sort of stuff, it's not going to be here next year. And so, I feel bad and stuff. I feel bad, but they're making themselves obsolete. They're making us. They're making people really, really decide. I mean, we're talking about San Antonio, the world capital of eating out, and you're making us decide to stay home. Just because, I mean, is it really worth the hassle? That being said, people are definitely taking advantage of drive-throughs, obviously. Any place with a drive-through is just still banging out business like you wouldn't believe. But that's what it is. Let's just skip on ahead. Hey, Brenda. Oh, yeah. Bringing us the real content. Brenda said, yeah, yesterday I was trying to find some pics on my phone and open up something that said every time we take a picture, our location is recorded for our own good, even if you have your location off. What? You read, wait, what? Okay, so yeah, yesterday I was trying to find some pics on my phone and I opened something up. What did you open up? That's what I wonder. Brenda? Were you trying to open up pictures and the pictures told you? That, okay, because first of all, your location and everything like that, yeah, it is recorded. Obviously, but who is telling you this? Was it just a message that popped up on your phone? It says, it's for our own good. Yes, it is. It is for contact tracing you, and yes, you're being contact traced. Even if you have your location off, especially if you have your location off. Turn it off your location. It's funny. So I guess that's what the video is going to be about. Someone called the health department, or someone is in charge of telling on the only two businesses in town because they weren't wearing masks. What are we talking about over there in Colorado, small town USA? Somebody had called the health department or someone in charge telling on the only two businesses in town. See, that's exactly my point. These people are going to tell. And so these restaurants are so scared, and they are so scared. But imagine it's like it's a confrontation that's going to be had. So it's like, oh man, I can't really give anybody advice on what they should do with their business because my business ain't even open yet. But damn, dude, see, they already got you in that chokehold. Figuratively speaking, for these business owners, got you in that chokehold. You're in the chokehold. Your head and your face is all buried in their bosom. I mean, they're about to strangle you. They got you in position. Now, the only difference is whether or not you're going to kick out of it and bust out of it. And you're going to have to bust out of it. There's no, you're not going to talk them out of letting you out of the stranglehold. They already got you in it. And so the only way to get out of it is to buck around and just start, really, really thrashing. That'd be the only way. And so now these people are getting shut down. And perhaps they'll go out of business. I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios in which people are getting shut down, and like I, explained, maybe do some figurative thrashing about. Not only getting shut down, but meaning to get shut down. It's going ahead and saying, no, we stand against this. We stand against it. And just doing it as loud as you can. And I think if you do it as loud as you can, of course you're going to get canceled, but perhaps you're going to be maybe crowdfunded on the back end, because so many people are tired of it that they'll just give you money as a business or starting a business with you, so long as they know that you're going to thrash around. Right? And it's like, I don't know that there's any in betweens. I don't know that there is. But Unwrapped by Brenda says, yes, it is under some settings and pictures. I said every time you take a picture, you're, I think I might know what you're talking about. But I can assure you that whether or not they tell you that is exactly the case, and there's no getting away from that. All right. There's certain things you could do, like you can put a cover over your cameras and stuff like that, and perhaps they can't see you at that particular angle. Alright, but everything's getting recorded, that's for sure. Unwrapped by Brenda says, I still won't wear a mask. God never said cover your mouth. That's very interesting. Yeah, that's true. I don't think God ever did say cover your mouth. It's really kind of interesting, and I gotta admit, I want to be straightforward with y'all. Right? I don't wear a mask, obviously. Like, at work, for example, don't wear a mask. Like, for example, I work overnight, so there's really no reason to wear a mask. And people come in, like, in the morning and take over, like, on first shift, and I pretend like I'm going to wear a mask, but then I really don't wear it. And so then I go to my second job as well, and typically I'm outside for that job, and just don't wear a mask, not wearing a mask, would never even think about it. Basically, alright. And okay, most situations I've been talking, like I don't even go to stores anymore. Forget Target, HEB. I'm not really concerned with. And if I had to get groceries, if I really have to, for say like meat and certain products that I can't source yet without the grocery store, I'll have them delivered, which is what I've been doing. Costs a little bit more. But whatever, like, I don't even want to go to these stores and stuff like that. There's certain times which I have to go into these convenience stores when I really, it's just so convenient that I have to go into the convenience store. And I just whip out this, because I always carry a handkerchief everywhere I go, you know what I'm saying? A handkerchief is very handy for all sort of reasons. But I'm never without a handkerchief, so it's like I put it on my dang face. And I gotta admit to you, because if I didn't admit to you, I would be lying. Right? And I put it on my stupid face for like 2 minutes. I go into this convenience store and get out as soon as possible. I get only what it is that I see that I might need or whatever. Get the hell up out of there within like a couple minutes. And before I even hit the door, the mask is off. I already got my stuff. I don't need you anymore. Take the mask off, walk out the door. And you'd never catch me in a parking lot with a mask on or anywhere else. And at the same time, I can't help but think, like, okay, that's out of my own desperation. That's out of me not necessarily being prepared without the convenience store. And so that's my fault, kind of. And then I think about the convenience store workers. And same goes for Freddy's Frozen Custard. Like, in any restaurant setting, it's so stupid because I honestly don't want to argue with people. I just literally don't. That's not my intent. So I walk into Freddy's Frozen Custard, and mind you, I have my brand new shirt on that I'll show y'all, I guess, tomorrow. But I just got it from InfoWarsStore.com, and if you go to InfoWarsStore.com right now, you can get the same shirt. It says Baby Lives Matter. And it's really, it's like a Black Lives Matter thing. It's all big print and stuff, but it says Babies Lives Matter. And so, like, I feel like I'm kind of making a statement, right? Like, so that's good enough for me. As far as arguing with these Freddy's Frozen Custard people about whether or not I should wear a mask, I don't even, because I'm looking at all those Freddy Frozen Custard people, and they're all wearing masks. And I'm not talking about for 2 minutes. I'm talking about for like 6-8 hours. And it's like, what kind of nightmare existence? And you're in a fast food restaurant. I know you're not getting paid no good money. So you're desperate as all hell, and I'm gonna come into your restaurant, even though I know that you know that business is not the what it should be, and you're desperate and just thankful to even have this job. I'm gonna come in and cause all sort of problems. No, not really. I'll put on a handkerchief for 2 minutes, but you know what's the procedure? Is right when I'm done ordering. Yeah, give me my drink. Thank you. Take the drink. Sit at the table. No longer have to wear a mask because I have a drink. I don't care where I'm at in the restaurant. I have a drink and I'm drinking. All right. So there's nobody who can tell me anything. I no longer wear a mask. I literally just wore it for 2 minutes, and everybody knows we're playing and pretending. Everybody knows that it's all playing and pretending. Everybody does. And so, if we all know that we're all playing, it's nobody's taking this literally deadly serious. So, if we all know we're playing and pretending, I don't have a problem wearing a mask for 2 minutes. But anything more than 2 minutes, and I'm never coming back ever again. All right, playing and pretending. I forgot what else I was gonna say about that, but yeah, they're making themselves kind of. Oh yeah, you know what? There is a kind of, it's all. There's a million reasons why I can prove that, like everybody's playing and pretending with the masks and everything. But it's really kind of funny is I bet you not a lot of people have ever thought about. All right, for example, smokers would know. People who smoke fine pipe tobaccos like myself, or perhaps cigarettes or whatever. They know, and you've seen it if you're ever in the presence of this before. This is scientific, just over the top evidence that everybody's playing and pretending, right? People who smoke, if you ever been in a room or something like that in a closed, confined area and it's smoking, and say it's like dimly lit or whatever, you could see your smoke and it does all these sort of designs, right? And cool, weird things, and people like to blow smoke rings and do this and that. You can see they make designs and it's all the smoke in the air. You can see it as floating around, right? That's your breath. It came out of you. So it's like the smoke from the cigarette clearly shows, or whatever, it clearly shows that it's just going to waft around in the room. Now, smoke is kind of heavy in that it's eventually going to settle down. It's going to fall down. But in the meantime, it's kind of floating up in the air and just wafting around, right? That is literally your breath. So if you're in a restaurant setting, just imagine you're smoking a cigarette. Your breath would be literally flying everywhere. And ain't no 6-foot radius. If you ever smoked it, you know what I'm saying? If you ever seen it, you don't notice it when you're breathing out in public. But until you start smoking or something, you can see it. But that's exactly what your breath is doing all over the place. Everybody's playing and pretending. So dumb. But let's see. Don't want to wear a mask on your next flight? Just got a little bit harder. You won't be able to travel. They don't want you to travel. It's interesting. Oh man. Did you call me a G-tard? Rabbi Brandon, I'm gonna have to ban you for being a dang bully. All right. I expect an apology. But either way, you're canceled. I'll make sure of it. On Rabbi Brandon. Get my name wrong. But I want to tell you about this fellow that we're looking at right now. All right. I wonder how long we've been in here and stuff. Oh yeah, closing in on an hour. I want to tell you about this guy. I want to think about making an hour and a half, unless it has to be more. We don't want to get too strung out and stuff. I was planning on making it about an hour and a half. Meanwhile, I gotta tell you about this guy. But first off, Rabbi Brandon said that is very cool, and I'm not sure what she's talking about. He said, I think that baby's lives matter is cool. Oh yeah, and I was walking, that's the thing about it, it's a brand new shirt, so it's all clean and stuff, and I was like, I want to go out and get some dinner, because I don't want to really, there's all sort of cleaning and stuff I got to do here, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out and rep that shirt, yeah, man, I don't care if anybody says anything, right? And in fact, it's like, when you really think about it, who's going to wear it if I don't wear it? You know what I mean? Really, honestly, on an objective level, it's like, how in the world would this become controversial? But meanwhile, you could expect to get knocked out or this and that, or something done bad to you if you're wearing a shirt. Well, go ahead and do something bad, because I'm a grown man. It's like, dude, there's nobody else. I mean, I can't expect women and children to be taking on this. It's like, how is this controversial? And I wish you would do something. But meanwhile, nobody ever does anything. Like, that's the thing about it. When it comes to it, and I'm not saying like I'm not the biggest guy ever or anything, but it's just to say like nobody tries me for. I mean, nobody's gonna say nothing, not a damn mumbling word, right? And they don't. And I appreciate that because there's nothing controversial about the shirt. But there was a lady, she came out of the restroom from the Freddy's frozen custard, and she said, "I love that shirt." And I was like, "Yes, thank you, ma'am." All right? And I love that shirt too. Think about a baby. That's the thing about it. I'm talking about everybody because everybody at one point in time was babies. Right? I don't care like what color you are. At a certain point when you're an adult, you can stand up for yourself. And if you can't, that's a damn shame. And meanwhile, babies can't do a damn thing. And meanwhile, everybody's running roughshod all over babies. No, babies' lives matter. Right? And I don't care if you're sorry, Brenda. You are getting canceled for mistyping my name. Getting canceled. She said, "You are right to respect the workers." I can't help but feel for the workers. In a sense, I respect them. But in a sense, I hope they step it up because here's the thing. Like I've been telling my nieces ever since they were littler, and they I don't know if they still get it yet. Don't go into food service. Trust me, if anyone could tell you, that's me. Don't do it. It is dumb. I know some people, it's like I've done it longer than most people, but I know some people love it. Some people, I'm just saying, it's not a good career path. Alright, but I can't help but feel for them. And there's some people who are doing it, they're probably out these fast food restaurants because they lost their other job. And they're scrambling and thinking like, dude, I want to be productive in society. And they go out and get this job and it's miserable. Why am I going to give them guff? It doesn't make no sense. See, that's what I mean on how you look at things. Respect to you. I respect to you, Brandon. I like how you look at things. I'm just saying it's like, at the end of the day, like, for example, what good is this confrontation that we're going to have? Meanwhile, I mean, you know, I'm already wearing the shirt and stuff. You already can see that I obviously don't conform. So if I wear a mask and you can see that I don't conform, then that's all right, I guess. You know that you see me take off the mask as soon as I get to the table and I have my drink. So I mean, it's just what it is. And I noticed all dining places are doing that. I went to La Madeleine the other week. And just sit at your table, live life like it's normal, and but meanwhile, all these workers have to wear a mask, and that's a damn disgrace. Now, we're looking at this guy, or I mean, if you wanted to, you could look at this guy right now. And I was checking this out the other day. It said Miami-Dade man faces, like, check this out right here, faces fines for wearing face mask the wrong way. Right? You shouldn't be surprised by none of this. That's what's crazy. Is I can make tomorrow's headlines if I really just thought about it by thinking of what's the most absurd thing I could say. And then when it happens, like a couple days from now or a week from now, I can say, "Oh, look, aren't I a genius? Look, I said something absurd and then it happened." Not really. It's like fish in a barrel at this point. I mean, how proud of myself could I feel? Of course, I could have said, "Yeah, people are going to start to get fines and perhaps later on getting arrested for not wearing their mask correctly, for wearing it the wrong way." Now, this is what it's just an example, and I'm sure there's countless examples of why the confrontation is going to happen. I'm not for the confrontation. I just want to say what's my opinion, and you say what's your opinion, and then we laugh and have a good time. But I'm not for the confrontation. But some people are. Now, this is a confrontation that's very awkward and very dystopic, in which they get this guy right here on the screen right there. And his mask wasn't like that, I don't think. Basically how the story goes, he winds up getting a fine. I don't think from a police officer. Maybe it was. I don't know. But it's over in Miami-Dade, Florida. Why does he get a fine? Because his mask has slipped up under his nose. Now, all during this playing and pretending, I've seen people at work, because like it's like encouraged. The mask thing is encouraged at my work, but it's not required, so like I just don't do it. But I see people wearing all these masks and stuff and weird stuff, and some of them have their masks up under their nose, so their nose is fully exposed. Now, I could say, hey, you're not wearing that. Stop and say, you're not wearing that mask right. Obviously, it's supposed to be over your nose. But meanwhile, I know everybody's playing and pretending anyways. So even though I see that they don't have their nose, that their nose is out, there's nothing I could say to them. And meanwhile, if we're really relying on water droplet theory from our mouths, I guess you could say that there's very few water droplets bursting up out of our noses. That actually is kind of a good argument. But I've never had that conversation with nobody just because I don't care, and it is all playing and pretending. So they see this guy, and they issue him a fine because his mask had crept up under his nose, just like how I've seen. And so, without seeing the video, when I first saw the thumbnail, I was like, well, obviously, this guy, it's made the news. This guy's going to have something to say about it. How maybe it's egregious. How maybe it's way over the line. How this has just gone out of control. This is what you would imagine this guy would say. Now, the reason I know for a fact that there's no getting out of this calamity is just because this is an example. This guy didn't say that. If you check out the video, it's only about 2.5 minutes long here on YouTube. He agreed with the mask enforcement. Believe it or not, totally agrees with it. But, however, he said, but I was just talking and stuff and my mask slipped up under my nose. So can you cut me a break, basically? It's like, wow. They're coming down on you because a little piece of fabric slipped up off your nose. And you're so blind that they're coming down on you personally. And you still can't even see through all this playing and pretending. And you're still so hate-minded and just fear-minded that you have to still believe it. And he still believes it. And he wants it to be enforced. And they came down on him personally. And he likes it. And like I said before, and basically I might as well say it every time. The reason is because he's so hateful in his heart. And he's got a murderous heart. I don't mean to call him out in particular or whatever. I'm just to say all of us have murderous hearts. And all of us are just full of like all sort of willy-nilly thoughts and stuff, and it just doesn't make any damn sense. That is until, some people would call it being born again, or you come to some sort of damn sense. And realize that you can't infringe on people with your beliefs because that is a tyrannical thing to do. And this guy, even though he's the one getting the screws to him, he wants the screws even harder, but just not on him. Because of his hateful spirit, right? At the end of the day, from what I've seen, it's probably because he hates his parents. It's not to say that he's going to admit it. And of course, everybody loves their mama, but no, they don't. They actually hate their mamas, and they resent their mamas. And they have built up animosity towards their mamas. And since they're so afraid of their own mamas, and they're so hateful towards their own fathers, and even if they don't admit it, it's going to come out in different ways, like wanting to dominate over other people in such ways that even when you're the one being oppressed, you can't wait to turn that oppression on somebody else. And that's where you're at. And actually, it's that simple. I don't know if there's anything else that can be said about that. Now, Reverend Ronald S. Bucknipple is just a funny name. I don't know what exactly he's in the news for, but he had a funny face too. This guy, I don't even hardly want to say this. I don't even hardly want to say what this is. See, the news is meant to incriminate people All right, but if you read the headline, it's not good. The news is meant to incriminate people, and this comes from out of San Antonio, Texas. Um, Listen, about this guy, he deserves due process. I don't know. We don't even need to say his name, but he deserves due process. All right, and we need to find out whether or not he's guilty or not. Okay, I don't. He, by all means, he's innocent until proven guilty. That being said, this guy looks like somebody who would do exactly that. Right? He just looks like a clone, an empty vessel of nothingness, and perhaps perversion. I don't know, but he looks like that he does not benefit. That's what he looks like. Anybody in the world, and he's an empty, vapid shell of a person, right? And that's what he looks like. Now I don't know if he's guilty or anything. I'm just saying it's kind of like it's good to know what they look like that haircut, for example. Not to say everybody with that haircut, but that haircut is a good clue that you are up to no good, all right, and you are an empty, lost soul, all right, and that's what they look like. Check this out. Giant picture of Sam Coonrod. Oh man, he refuses to kneel during Black Lives Matters moment. Here we're gonna get real controversial. And Lord knows if anybody knew that I was doing this, they would kick me off of YouTube, but they don't know. So we'll find out. But Giants pitcher Sam Coonrod refuses. First of all, without going into too much detail, noting the situation and why they're kneeling, I thought it was really, really funny. The name Sam Coonrod. I thought, man, because God has a sense of humor, right? That's pretty damn funny. I know that sounds harsh and stuff, but I mean it as just being funny. Giants pitcher, he didn't. Okay, so let's forget about the funniness of his name. All right, but looking at all these people, and they're wearing masks and they're kneeling and everything, I don't know how else to put this. I'm not sure how to put this. Oh, what the heck? Let me check out this speaker. I don't know how to put this necessarily. But as far as athletics goes, as far as sports go in general, when you talk about baseball, football, basketball, the big ones, you got the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, okay, everything, all that is for transgenders, dude, and homosexuals, and that's it. Like, who cares? Who could possibly care at this point? And I'll call you to your face, Like, for example, my older brother, he's always been a fanatic about sports and stuff for whatever reason. And I used to like sports growing up and stuff like that. And, it's like, oh, yeah, look at these guys. They're heroic. They're doing these things. It's all for transgenders and homosexuals, and that's it. And I'm not bashing you for whatever your lifestyle. Sports is for you, and that's it. I have no time for sports. What kind of disgusting coward perverts do I want to watch to play in a little game on TV? You're so disgusting. Not only do you get all this money for no good reason, but you are a disgusting coward and you lay down. All right? And I don't care if you love America or don't. That doesn't matter. Look at you. Look at the disgraces that y'all are. Not only are you not only kneeling, but you're under Sharia law too. You are completely under Sharia law and you don't realize it? Wow. In certain places, like Pennsylvania, you can get a driver's license and it don't matter what gender, I guess. The police don't need to know what gender. Alright, so you can get sex. You can be sex X. Like our man, lady Janice. I don't know what it is. That's messed up that they put on this lady who obviously you can't hardly tell. I would assume it's a lady, but now I just can't even tell when she puts. Why would any lady? Alright, if you're a lady and you think that perhaps someone could even possibly think that you're a dude with a wig on, then why in the world would you ever put X under sex? No, you're just doing that because you got a wiener and you want to hide it. Alright, but you're not hiding anything. Special education teacher who encouraged Black Lives Matter supporter to kill white babies. Enviro photo no longer employed at the school. I hope not. All right, but that's the kind of special education teachers that you got all over the country. You see that? Oh yeah, far away stare and stuff. That's who's looking after handicapped capable children. Passengers cheer as Karen is kicked off. I wanted to bring this up. All right, so we'll wind it down pretty soon. What the heck? Oh my gosh, it's 11:47, you guys. Oh, we've been at. All right, so we got about 15 minutes. I can't believe it. All right, Rabbi Brandon, why are you even up so late? I didn't even know it was this late. I mean, I just woke up at like 7 o'clock in the evening, and I barely got stuff correct. I don't. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe it's midnight almost. But Rabbi Brandon says, right, the real sports heroes are the ones that tell everyone their preference. Oh yeah, that's right. And we got to make note, there's certain athletes who opted out, who are not even playing this season because they don't want to put up with the mess. All right, mad respect to those people out there. Just don't even put up with the mess, dude. If they want to sit out for a year and stuff and see if they can't handle themselves and blah blah blah, maybe we can come back with a football league next year, and they'll come on then, or a football thing, or a baseball thing. And there's some people who are standing up, like our man Sam Coonrod, and just God bless them out there and stuff. All right. And I don't have problems with people making all sort of money and stuff like that. Oh man, there's a lot of night owls out here on the internet and stuff, and it is kind of creepy and stuff when you think about it. But me too, I guess. I'm there with y'all. I'm all creeped out. Anyways, passengers cheer on and Karen. I did want to mention this too, because, God, like, even when it's said appropriately, even when it's said in proper context about Karens, calling people Karens. I'm annoyed by it. I'm so tired by it. Typically, it is a racial slur when you think about it. It's always white women, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a white woman, but I'm just saying that seems kind of like racially motivated. But so they cheer as Karen is kicked off a flight. That's the problem, is that they're using it so haphazardly that it doesn't even have nothing to do with what they're talking about. This is a headline, and it was done by New York Post, that there's no way in the world you can construe this as anything but racist. Because this lady is not being a Karen. Now, you can watch the video, and it's exactly as you would imagine if you see the thumbnail. They're kicking the lady off. This guy with the mask who's like saying, you gotta get out of here, we all hate you. And so, just put yourself in this lady's shoes. That's gonna be not only inconvenient as all hell, alright, who knows where she's going to right now? Not only is that, but just unbelievably embarrassing, dude. How can embarrass somebody like that the way that he's doing? Embarrassing, dude. Even if you're like very confident, it still feels kind of embarrassing to be kicked off in front of everybody. And you would hope that nobody would say anything, or just like everybody, you would hope that at least nobody would say anything. But then they all start clapping, or at least a couple of people start clapping, right? And this one person said something out of hand to the lady. I was like, it's pretty messed up that you look at just some random stranger human being, and it's a situation in which it's very confrontational, in which people do want to catch flights and stuff like that. And so they are pinning people in confrontation against each other. And they're calling this lady a Karen. Meanwhile, that's not even appropriate. I thought Karen meant that when you're being nosy and you're getting in people's business and you're wanting to snitch on people but meanwhile, this lady did nothing of the sort. This lady wanted to be on an airplane without a mask, like a damn loser playing and pretending all day. And so y'all got the nerve to kick her off, and then you're shouting at her and calling her a Karen when it's the exact opposite. Not only was I tired of it when you're saying it appropriately, but now you're saying it even though you're the Karen. You're literally the Karen in this whole situation. And calling her the Karen. Why? Because she's a white lady. That's unbelievable, ain't it? But, obviously that's the days we're living in. Bexar County reports more than 700 cases. Now, if you were to keep up day to day with Bexar County, which is San Antonio, Texas, There's hundreds and hundreds of new ones a day. All right, so I don't know how many days it would take anybody to figure out, okay, wow, we all got it. But now, okay, 35,000 people have it in San Antonio, 35,000 in surrounding areas. And that's the ones that you know about. So looking at it, okay, you'd be a damn fool to think that there's anything less than 100,000 people with coronavirus in San Antonio. Okay, you're going to contain it? How's that? How are you going to contain it? 100,000 people? You got how many people in the hospital? Right? How many of those people do not even know that they have it? Oh man, you're playing and pretending. It's so damn obvious. That's the thing about it. In San Antonio, just to single it out, and I'm sure we're not the best, but we're not the worst in the whole nation as far as playing and pretending and frauding. Okay, they're all over the place frauding. All over the damn place. There's nothing less than 100,000 people with this so-called virus in San Antonio alone. You're going to contain it how? Oh, by making the kids wear masks in school the whole year round? Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Like, that's the thing about it. At this point, we're taking it on to a federal level. We're talking about Donald Trump and his surrogates. The thing is, how are y'all playing patty cake with this and playing and pretending still? When there's no less than 100,000 people in San Antonio that already got this, and guess what? How many people dead, supposedly? Allegedly, there's 300 people dead? Allegedly, there is. And we're playing and pretending still. Oh, man. I hope you're playing 5D chess, because what you're doing on his face is so unbelievably retarded. And it really depends on what day you look at Donald Trump, or what time of the day you're looking at Donald Trump, whether you're trying to decide if he's going to be a hero or if he's literally throwing the election right damn now. All right. And the reason I want to say that is, as far as political banter goes, you might say the people, as far as the mask thing goes, just the mask topic by itself, you might say, well, that's not an extreme minority. It's a minority of people on the Trump train, if you will, who are speaking out about this mask thing as wholeheartedly. And that might be the case, actually. It's hard to tell. And it might be the case. What if it was this minority of Trump supporters who are really focused on the mask issue as far as a make or break issue? It might be, but that's actually the fiercest of his base anyways. Basically, if you're to sell out that small contingency, there's nothing in the way of them stealing, absolutely nothing. There's a green light and totally just clear path for stealing the election, and it's going to happen. And like I said, at that point, you might as well just keep your masks and stuff, and you're going to have them off and on for as long as possible. Joe Biden, and maybe he gets in. Maybe even somehow the virus disappears because Joe Biden's the president, and now people can open up. But guess what? Everybody's already effed. Economically speaking, all the restaurants and everything else will be closed, and we'll be effed. All right, real bad. I think that's it for my dang screenshots. I have a lot more before and stuff, man, but just hundreds and hundreds, and we don't have time for all that and stuff, all right? But, okay. Man. I lose track of time. It's hard to even... I gotta get a clock that's in front of me. I got one that's behind me and stuff. Sometimes it gets away from me. There's a couple stories that I wanted to share. I guess only one in particular right now. I'll go ahead and share. And I know it's on my YouTube subscriptions before I get up out of here. Actually, right before the broadcast, I was, and I could prove it to you, I was looking at this video, What is Your Stance on Black Lives Matters? And it was done by Tommy Sotomayor, and it's still going live. And I was watching it, and actually Maurice Delk hopped up on there. Shout out to Maurice Delk. It's a legend in the... honestly, man, he's put in some good work, like classics. Maurice Delk, and he came on, and he was talking to Tommy about how recently... Oh, actually, here, look, if you couple videos down from that, you can see I was watching Maurice Delk on his own channel. It's talking about a black Trump supporter. This guy right here. All right, let's bring him up. Look, that guy. All right. I'm gonna keep supporting my president. And I would play it, but it's just basically Maurice Stokes telling the story of this guy, who that you saw a little bit earlier. Anyway, shout out to Maurice Stokes, but this guy, and his name was, gosh, I remember, some sort of man. He's a Rastafarian. He has some sort of name like Dramel or something or other. You're gonna find him. He was shot dead in Milwaukee if you look it up. Alright, maybe Dago or something like that. Shot dead. He was some sort of Rastafarian in Milwaukee who stood for, if you can see right there to the side, Donald Trump, and held out signs. And the story goes that he just recently gave an interview with some sort of news publication, I think right in front of his store. Gave an interview about his support for Donald Trump, to include whatever else. A little interview about it. And not only a couple of hours later, if I understand correctly, 2-3 hours later, this guy gets shot dead in front of his store. Alright, and honestly, it's real moving. It's messed up. Maurice Stokes talking about where's Black Lives Matters. Obviously, they're not going to be out there. Obviously, they're out to recruit more transgenders or something. So they're not going to talk about this guy, obviously. But it seems as though, I think, we'll see where it goes, but it leads me to believe that he was shot because of his support for a person. Right? His political views. And this, among other things, little babies getting shot, retired police officers getting shot and getting killed. All sort of people with black skin getting shot, and then there's people all with white skins getting shot, and just people getting shot up and down from this Black Lives Matters movement thing. And it's always like, oh yeah, but the rest of them are peaceful and they don't vouch for this and we're not about that. But meanwhile, it keeps happening. And if you blow up this situation by itself, you say, okay, there's a reason to disband this whole thing and call it a terrorist organization just like it seems like, and do it right now. And it's like no reason to play patty cake with these people anymore. And isn't it damn ridiculous, right? Isn't it dang ridiculous? The killing machine that is Black Lives Matters. It just so happens to be black people typically, right? And that's what happened recently. So, as we get out of here, I was thinking about this guy before I left my house to go, get dinner tonight. And I was like, I already had the new shirt, the Baby's Lives Matter shirt. It just came in the mail. And I was like, especially because of this guy, man. Especially because of this guy, I'm going to go out with this shirt. And I think Maurice Dell kind of like, he pretty much said something very similar, but it's like, basically he went out, he stood, obviously he was going against the grain, and he was standing out there and being proud of himself and just doing what he thought was right, and he got shot down for it. Alright, just as simple as that. And it's like, well, why don't they go ahead and shoot me down too? That's the thing about it. It does not matter. At this point, it's like, I wish somebody would try to do something like that. And if they do, I'm not going to be forgotten. Alright? And if they don't, well, then we win. If they don't say a mumbling word like they typically don't to me, then we both win anyways. It's a win-win situation. Alright? I can't lose, basically. There is no losing. And the only losing that's even possible is within hiding. To hide your face, to go hide in the closet, and go up under your bed, all up under the covers, and just hope that it's not going to get to you. That's the only way to lose. There is no losing. This guy didn't lose. This guy wins forever. And I forgot his name, Tramel. I know his last name was Tramel. It was like, but I'm gonna look up his name. He doesn't lose. He wins forever and ever and ever and ever. And everybody else is out here losing. And it's not easy to recognize all the time. But I think history is going to play itself out. And we're going to find out who lives, who does, and who doesn't live forever. It is July the 25th. Shout out to my girl, Unwrapped by Brenda. And I look forward to your video. She says, the amazing Lucas channel said that Texas governor by the name of Greg Abbott, who, along with Donald Trump, has been severely disappointing to me over the last couple of weeks. All right. Texas governor said there are no empty beds in the whole of Texas. I don't know if the amazing Lucas, where he got that information. I hadn't heard that exactly. I heard that kind of rhetoric being said in San Antonio on from local officials, and it's a damn dirty lie. It's so disgusting, all right? And I don't know that the governor said this. I don't know that that's right. But had he said that, obviously we know where he stands. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean that as a pun. He does not stand. But I wasn't talking about that. I'm just saying, I see what direction he's going. And isn't it so nefarious? And isn't it so disgusting? BLM oppressing, killing to silence black people. It is to silence black people. That is exactly correct. Right? And it is to turn them transgender, and it is to say if they don't like it, and it's like, dude, it's a direct attack on black males in particular. Not only do they financially abound with all sort of free goodies from every time they can draw attention to some black male getting killed, and they get all the money from it. All right. Not only that, but they want to, if not that, they want to turn them transgender. Alright? And it's not only that, if they don't have relations with transgender men, well, then they're hateful and bigoted and worthless. Alright? BLM oppressing, killing to silence black people, and that's what it's been. Alright? I didn't even realize until Kanye said it, although I could have had an idea. But it seems as though Kanye dropped a bombshell in between crying and stuff like that on stage. He said, Harriet Tubman, you might have caught this. And he said, Harriet Tubman, she didn't free black people. If anything, she just got those black people to work for different white people. It blew everybody's minds, and everybody's like, oh, God, he can't say that. He's crazy. Take him to a hospital. But meanwhile, I hear from other people that when it comes to Harriet Tubman, she's well connected. I don't know what's true, but they say that she worked for people like the Rothschilds. Oh, is that a surprise? I don't know what's true, but they say that she later on would become a spy, basically. That's Harriet Tubman, but that's not talked about in so-called history. They've been doing this for a long, long time. They set out a long, long time ago to villainize certain people and to lionize certain people who may or may not have been spies who worked for the Rothschilds, who were like carried away in all sort of different secret clubs, like Harriet Tubman, right? Supposed hero, supposed alleged hero that we're all supposed to look up to, and let's not forget Rosa Parks, right? I don't know if that might be controversial. She's supposed to be this hero. Isn't it so convenient? All these. It was always having to be black ladies that stood up, right? They wanted to make sure that was known. And then it all seems to be fabricated, huh? Like they had some sort of agenda. Meanwhile, they've been selling out the black man for this whole entire time. At every waking moment, they've been selling out the black man. I'm here to tell you. And I'm not a black man. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But now they're selling me out. In fact, they've been selling me out since before I was born, right? So, and it says, Unwrapped by Brandon says, all the ICU hospital beds. It's so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. So it does look like it appears that he's working in collusion. I'm talking about Governor Greg Abbott with these forces saying these blatant lies. Meanwhile, I personally don't know anybody who's got that disease. I know people who have been quarantined over it. I know people who lost work, who lost this and that. I don't know anybody in the hospital, and they might have it. And that's the thing, they're closing down certain hospitals in such a way. It's like, okay, it's interesting because, for example, and we got to get out of here, but like, for example, if you had 100,000 hospital beds and they, like, say they were all full up, yeah, that would be pretty impressive. If you had 100,000 hospital beds and 50,000 were full up, yeah, that's a lot of people, right? If say there was 25,000 people in those 100,000 hospital beds, that would be pretty damn impressive still, and you wouldn't even be close to capacity, right? You'd have 25% of all those beds filled up, but that's still a lot of people, all right? If you lower the amount of beds to, say, 5,000, and they're all full up, well, it's not really that impressive, is it? Right? So, y'all's tricks are that simple? Yeah, they are that simple. See right through them. And it's so disgusting. And your Sharia law is all disgusting. And I don't know if y'all are Satanists out there. I'm talking to Greg Abbott. I'm definitely talking to our mayor. And who knows who else I'm talking about. But I don't know if you're Satanist necessarily, but I see right through you and your BS and your BS tactics. And I'm very tired of it. Very done with it. All right. And anyways, I'm exhausted, man. I'll holler at y'all later with another update. This is going to be the 100-day countdown to total oblivion. Like I always say, don't get all worked up about it. Just know that's all going to be revealed to you. All right. Just sit back and watch it. And meanwhile, carry on. Do your part. Do you what you like to do, and do it real hard. All right. And then tell me about it because I want to hear about it. All right. And tomorrow we're going to talk about Rabbi Brenda's new video, and I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. It's July, I don't know, the 25th, 2020.